The hardest part about making a video on Hades is that you have to stop playing Hades to do it. This is annoying because this is the only thing I want to do for the rest of my life. Normally, I don't think getting addicted to anything is healthy, probably because it isn't, but when I'm not playing Hades, I'm thinking about wanting to play more of it. It is tight and responsive, demanding your full attention not to get blown up, but it feels so good to get right. It's kind of like crack for the soul, which I know about due to the exorbitant amounts of crack I've took. When you first arrive in tartar sauce,
goodbye, father,
your guy utters, and after pressing buttons, you have a sword. Oh, that's it. That's all you need to know. Good luck! Don't let the door hit you on the way out! Your objective is to leave the underworld and no demon is going to stop you. Oh, small correction actually. Every demon is going to stop you. Hades will try to kick your ass. It's a difficult game at first. You might scrape through this with the help of the A-Team. Athena, Artemis, Ares. They're called the A-Team because they all start with the letter A and you accelerate all the way to Megara.
Well, this is awkward.
Halt, Zagreus. Not one step further.
You get the choice. You could go home the easy way or the painful way. Zagreus chooses the painful way. It was!
Go home, Zagreus.
This is a sight you should get used to. Being overwhelmed, brutalized, there is no escape, and you emerge at the House of Hades.
Welcome to the House of Hades, where... Wait, I know you. Guess that means you died out there, huh?
I will not confirm nor deny this.
Back already.
I'll fucking destroy you, mate. Not you, though. Who's a good Cerberus?
I'm not just merely listening to this.
Who asked you? With each defeat, you can get stronger, spending acquired darkness to upgrade qualities about Zag, like giving him an additional dash, more health, and even reviving with half his health back. You have to get your bones broken a few times, but the more you play, the easier it gets, yet it never actually becomes easy. You still have to have the skill to survive. It's just how many mistakes you can make that changes. Because you will make mistakes, and it's always your fault, and you will feel very, very silly. Regardless, go back and clear your head after your next failure, and eventually you will overcome the fury.
Yes.
Onwards to Asphodel. The Sea of Flames is even more hostile than what came before, and you're going to need help to get through. Both from friends from hell and the Olympians who want you to reach them. There's Zeus and Poseidon and Hermes and Orpheus, Nyx and Achilles and Charon and Eurydice, Sisyphus, Dionysus, Artemis and Cerberus and Skelly. Skellington. Hades is as much a visual novel as it is a roguelike, with each character carrying a semblance of weight to everything that goes on within it. I don't think there's really a bad character to be found here, with the exception of Tisiphone. That's by virtue of her only communicating using the word murder, followed by the action murder. It's hard to converse with someone like that, especially when every other character has something to say about literally anything that could happen. Let me just check something. Let me show you. How much dialogue is in Hades' 21,000 voice lines? Several of them are about petting a dog. Of course, though. Who could forget the single most important character in the game, the Wretched Broker?
Congratulations, Wretched Broker.
I love him. The house is a great place to unwind between runs, as even if you're not progressing past where you were in the dungeons, you're advancing your understanding of the characters and learning more and more about them. I'll talk further of that in a bit, because eventually battling through the barge of death, too many explosives, and an unruly amount of burning, you reach the Bone Hydra, and this is a showcase that you're ready to traverse to Elysium. An eternal paradise for some, but you're a denizen of below. You don't belong, and the game will treat you that way if you're not prepared. But to make it here, you have to have some idea of how the tower ticks. The very first decision you make starting a run is a preference. Which weapon do you use? There's 6 in total, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses. The shield can block attacks, the lance can hit from a range, the railgun can shoot from further, the bow even further than that, and the sword cannot. Also, the fists have a shoryuken, which is good because I'm allergic to not mentioning Street Fighter. There's not a right or wrong option to choose here, unless you're easily swayed by peer pressure, as one randomly determined weapon each run is more beneficial for getting currency, and that's the one I pick. Then you begin, and you're immediately gifted either a Daedalus hammer, a way of specializing your weapon beyond what it can already do, sometimes for the worst, this one fucking sucks, or a boon from the gods. These are your ways of communicating with the Olympians at the core of your builds, adding status effects and modifiers to let you go berserk. Each god generally has a primary focus. Zeus adds lightning to everything, Hermes is speed and movement, Artemis has crit chance, and Athena is the best one because bullet hells can't hurt when hell sends bullets back. I never felt pressured to go for a specific build, so I naturally fell into creating something that I'd occasionally find out I loved. For example, there was this bow build I had where I lost my charge shot, but in exchange I had rapid fire lightning that jumped between enemies, as well as beams of ice that would track whoever they could, slowing them down. And on top of that, there's summons where I had Aphrodite who makes enemies... Holy shit, the Hydra's bloody gone! I gotta tell Orpheus about this.
Say, Orpheus, I ever tell you I once single-handedly slew a multi-headed bone hydra within the magma fields of Asphodel without so much as breaking a sweat?
My, that is wonderful to hear, my friend.
That being said, you can't be too greedy. Occasionally you'll come into rooms with 2 boons to choose from, and you can get both. Just pick the one you like more first, because second place gods have very bad attitudes and even worse water spells. I quiver before Poseidon. Fuck off!
Ooh, looks like one of those dart traps killed you last time.
Oh, that's just embarrassing. But those aren't all you find in chambers, no. Along with those and straight up health upgrades, you get the darkness to perma upgrade between runs, Pomeranians of power to level up boons you've already got, and nectar to make friends with most characters. You can't make friends with the boulder. I want to make friends with the boulder. So that was a lie. Obviously, my first choice was Cerberus, because as previously established, he's a very good boy. And he gave me his keepsake, an equipable bonus that blesses you with strength, but you can only have 1 character at a time. You can switch between the levels of the underworld, however, so it's worth keeping your options open. I'll give 1 to Meg, 1 to Hypnos. Achilles has been very supportive, and I'd be at least a little daft if I didn't give my final one to Skelly Skellington. His reward's actually really good if you're bad at the game. It lets you come back after dying with a fraction of your health. It's not too bad if you're starting out. You can unlock that with darkness too, but more lives never hurt anyone, and like, you'll need them. You can also find gems to get environmental upgrades, creating chances for money to appear in pots, safe rooms mid-area, infernal troves which give you bigger rewards depending on how quickly you clear, and that's just for the run. This game is also actually Animal Crossing because you can customize the House of Hades as well. My first order of business was I gave Cerberus a bed and scratches behind the ear. Also, there's money. Just cold, hard cash. You can find that too and spend them at the boatman's shop. He comes carrying a random assortment of everything we've discussed up until this point, as well as lucky bags and health. In some very rare scenarios, you can even borrow some of Charon's gold. Do not borrow some of Charon's gold! Worst mistake I ever did make! There's a lot of mechanics to keep track of, and it sounds more overwhelming than it actually is, but the gameplay is so fun, it just naturally weaves itself in. You don't need to grasp absolutely everything when you're dashing and slashing with precision. Make an incision right into the core of Hades' army. You've beat Meg, you've beat the Hydra, you're climbing Elysium, which has tougher enemies that require your full focus, and then you come face to face with Asterius.
You come from the bowels of hell. This is not your place.
Asterius is going to demolish you, and you don't beat him, you survive him, and I did on 1 HP. I felt incredible! He's not the boss though. Theseus is. And so is Asterius. They're both the boss. Please help me! I think Hades has 3 specific walls that you need to level up your gameplay to get past. The first is Megara. She's the first boss. It makes sense. The third one is Hades himself. Spoilers, that's the last guy you're gonna take on. He's a rough go-around. The second one, Theseus, is the most fascinating, I believe, as well as the one most built to send you back to the depths you rose from. Take the single most aggressive enemy you face in the ascent and combine him with the most defensive going forward. This is the conundrum of the Colosseum, and it'll make you or break you. No!
You more
God damn it. There's a reason the Elysium segment has gone on so much longer than every other segment. It's because it's the area that will take you the longest to break through, and coming back here afterwards, you'll see variety. Different floors sometimes have different clear conditions, like survive an onslaught or beat your childhood friend Thanatos in slaying more demons than he. He's sometimes kinda shit at it, but it's okay, because eventually if you want, you can kiss him. This game's also a dating sim, just while we're mapping things out, like add that to the list.
Death approaches.
Also, the bosses could change slightly. Meg is a single one of the Fury siblings, and eventually the other two take over. Which one's the worst to fight? Yes. Oh, for fuck's sake. No. No.
Oh, it's just a tiny vermin. Oh, gods.
All this to say, Hades is so confident in its gameplay and its characters, because you can play for hours and hours bashing your head against a brick wall that never gets less made of bricks. So when you find that crack in it, you feel ecstatic.
That ought to shut him up.
And even then, it took me reaching that wall for the first time for the game to give me any details on the narrative. Your objective as a player is to beat a run of Hades. You decide that from the very start. There was never a need for the game to give you another reason, but that's not the objective of Zagreus, a character who you'll have played for a while at this point. I don't know if Hades always determines this cutscene to play here, or I think it was after my 5th run, so that could be the trigger, whatever. You, the player, get a flashback when you're at the house and learn the reason Zag is trying to escape is to reach Persephone, his real mother. On a very conceptual level, this is a type of story that already intrigues me, but something that bothers me about it, and I'll level with you here. At the time of writing this, I haven't rolled credits, so I don't know if this gets explained. The message doesn't mention this is Zag's mother. The narrator does.
You're saying this Persephone, that she's my mother?
Who is this narrator to set off everything? Well, actually, it does mention she loves Cerberus, so I probably could have worked it out myself. You reached the Temple of Styx, and now you know why. It's just a matter of dealing with the single toughest challenge you could possibly make me face.
Oh no, not this.
The multi-headed Cerberus stands vigilant before the underworld's entryway.
This is how it has to be. There's nothing left to say. Except for, on your guard. No, but seriously, boy.
Oh, thank God, I would have cried. We actually just have to go down various paths filled with terrifying horrors to fetch him a snack in order to vanquish his hunger. This is a very good video game, and we're about to reach the end of it. If you're thinking about playing the game at this point, you should probably get on that, because the surface is behind this door.
I did it. Wow.
And so is your final obstacle, Hades himself.
Oh, of course.
After every other thing he's thrown at you has failed, including him telling you to just kill yourself, Hades is the last obstacle. That being said, this battle doesn't start when the introductory dialogue ends. No, this war began the very moment your run did. This fight is as hard as you've made it, because Hades is a monster who can slay you in just a few hits. The question is his son even more of a monster who can withstand it and come out with a victory? Honestly, I think it's more than likely you will, because to get to this point, you've probably been playing that well for the past 25 minutes. Why stop now? This isn't a formality, but a triumph you work towards, and in the simplest terms, no matter how many times I've done it, winning feels fucking amazing. Oh! Oh!
How you go?
First fucking earned this feeling, and you get a reward that I feel genuinely matches it. I've not commented on the presentation of this game, but it shouldn't be hard to see that it's masterful. Music gorgeous and stuck in my mind, visually striking, each shot like a photograph, and nothing feels like that more than when you first reach an area because you can see it from the distance. Battered and bruised, you drag your feet through the first snow you've ever encountered in your life, doing something you never thought you could. Your reward is the view.
That thing. That's the sun.
What a beautiful dawn to observe, moments before everything changes. I'm not going to show you what lies beyond, but all you need to know is that you're taken by the sticks because there is no escape. Not for you, not for anyone. Once you return, you unlock the ability to add modifiers to your run to make it harder and significantly more replayable in the off chance it wasn't already, as well as fishing. This is a fishing game. Hades, on a very objective level, I think is one of the greatest video games ever made. On a more subjective one, though, yeah, I think I like it. I've not exactly hidden my opinion on this because there is so much here to gush about and I want to experience more of it. The characters and gameplay work so well in harmony you don't need anything else, yet then you add the story, which is genius, developing both on success and failure. I've completed the main quest at this point. Holy hell, I teared up, Supergiant. You got me! The variation in what you encounter, there's way more going on than what I've mentioned here thus far. How overpowered you get, yet needing to still be able to wield how incredible you become. I am only slightly addicted at this point. I can fall much further. I don't think there's any other way I can put this. There will never be another video game quite like Hades. That doesn't count. Now I need to play more Hades, so no videos for the next year. Bye.
SoopLexi.
I got one. Is this a trout?
Yeah, it's a trout. Scream and shout. Ah!